Hi, this is Anna Howard, CEO of Murray Mallee Aged Care Group. I'd like to welcome you to this episode of the Support at Home program and look forward to sharing with you lots of information about the changes due to come into effect on the 1st of November.
So if I'm a client currently with Murray Mallee Aged Care, what would change practically about, if anything, about the services I receive? You know, my favourite support worker comes every Tuesday, does the cleaning now, somebody comes. What do you think will be those practical on the ground changes, if any, that they might really see?
Well, on the ground, probably they shouldn't see any change. They won't, the same people will be delivering the care. Perhaps, the next time they have a review of their services, they might rethink how they utilise their services. They might be more inclined to purchase more services rather than, stay on that same old holding pattern that they were in, because I don't think we've put a number to it, but they're not allowed to accumulate any more than $1,000 in a
10%,
quarter, or 10%. And if they do have money, unspent money, they can't be reassessed for a higher service or higher category until they've utilised those funds. So I think that will be something that we'll see in practice changing, but otherwise their statements will look pretty much the same. We've been providing fairly in-depth information for a long time now on their statements, so that, apart from seeing the care management taken out of the statement and the packet, or reduced, not taken out, I beg your pardon, reduced, and the package management taken out,
Shouldn't be major.
there'll be a higher hourly rate, but then we'll just need to remind people that they've not been charged that other, what is essentially 15%, that they won't be moving forward.
I think about, mostly probably because I'm involved in our kind of subcontracted services and brokerage services. You know, we're obviously looking at that because that comes at a cost too, and balancing again that quality of service with the cost. You know, we could utilise large organisations and maybe at a lower cost to clients sometimes, but not necessarily the same quality as someone local, and managing the admin of bringing those people on and making sure they meet those new quality requirements that the government expects of us. Not everyone might be able to have the exact person that they want anymore, or the gardener, or the podiatrist. We have to be very intentional with that, and I think clients might see that practically in terms of some changes, but not a loss of service really in any way.
No. And on that point with the contractors, we've seen the pendulum swing. 10, 15 years ago, we didn't have the volume of people providing contracted services that we do today. And the reason that happened was because in 2015, when we went from block funding to individualised consumer-directed care funding, when we were told that clients could pretty much do anything they wanted or engage anybody they wanted and spend their budget pretty much in any way they wanted to. Whilst in principle that was a lovely shift from the block funding and a very empowering one for clients, what we've seen is that pendulum swing so far the other extreme, where we're seeing over-servicing, and it's not a secret, and it was in the media this morning. NDIS is putting it right out there on the table. There's huge issues around over-servicing, and then some cohorts not accessing even assessment services. So it's that whole contractor model will move a little bit, I think, and we will be once again better placed to employ people ourselves as an organisation, rather than they continually outsourcing and
'Cause you have to
contracting.
monitor it closely. It's still our service kind of at the end of the day, and our kind of quality expectations and
Yes.
safety expectations for clients that,
Yep.
we need to know are met. Um, and if you have every person who's hung up a shingle or started their own
Mhm.
business going into clients' homes, it becomes tricky to do that. The risk certainly increases. The cost can increase or vary between clients. I think about that as well. One contractor could be charging this, another could be this. How do you even that out? Obviously, we're setting prices now, so that's a little bit of a change, but
Mm.
and I think makes it a bit more equitable or fairer to clients in that way.
Definitely. Because getting back to clients' rights, we have a duty of care to protect them.
Mm,
And we hear horror stories in the media of elder abuse,
mm,
and mostly it's financial abuse.
mm,
And so it's something that we're very, very conscious of, and keep very tight processes in place
mm,
to mitigate any possible risk of exploitation of our clients.
mm. Yeah. And so, in regards to obviously clients protecting clients, one of the groups of people I think are very involved, particularly we see it a lot with our Adelaide clients, is family members. Um, any changes that they should be aware of? If I'm the daughter, the son of one of our clients, what should I be doing, or
Yeah.
what should I be asking, or how should I be helping mum and dad with this change?
Yeah, well, one of the things that has been introduced is the client representative
Mm,
process, and that's managed through the My Aged Care portal.
mm,
I would just encourage any carer or significant other person in that frail older person's life to inform themselves and pick up the phone and ask questions and keep asking
mm,
questions if they're not getting the right answers, and reaching out throughout the organisation. And
mm,
then if they do hit a hurdle, then, as I said earlier, there's the Commission, there's ARIS, there's
mm,
OPAN. So we really, I'm going to cite a cliche, but we are really the lucky country. And you
mm,
talk to people who come in from other countries around the world, and their aged care system is not nearly as robust as ours.
mm,
The Netherlands and the Nordic countries, the Scandinavian countries, they have a good reputation, but I'm
mm,
not sure that they surpass what we're doing in Australia.
mm,
So, yeah, family are very much part of the process for us. In fact, we feel more comfortable when we know that there
mm.
are other people
A good
invested
support
into that.
network.
Yeah, that's right. It's
Mm,
very difficult when we have those people in our program who don't have that support, and then they do hit a crisis, and then it really challenges us ethically and morally as to where to draw the line.
mm,
And that's when we do reach out for advice, independent advice,
mm.
to guide us if we get stuck.
And it's a good key point in terms of Australia and even our approach is relationship is a lot of it. This is a big change process. I love task orientation and change and step by step process and administration, and I can get caught up in that. I know, personally, but at the end of the day, it's a lot of good relationships. It's knowing your care partner. It's knowing the organisation is happy to take those phone calls or answer any questions. Nothing's too much in that way, really. If you are unsure, you can pick up the phone. If it does seem overwhelming, you generally do know that there's someone you can ask, be it a concerned family member or one of our clients. That relationship is kind of the key bit. We're not going to laugh your way because
No.
we ask a lot of questions ourselves, and you think, I'm not sure if this is silly, but everyone interprets things differently, don't they? And so you just want to be sure and get some clarity, and that'll be the process. We talk about November 1, and the date is looming and getting closer, but it doesn't really stop. Yeah, so I think one of the other questions that we saw a lot at the town hall was about purchasing things out of the funding. One of the things that I like, again, as a process-orientated person, is that there's now an equipment kind of list that the departments put out, but I think that raises a lot of questions too with some of the things that are on the list, you know, fishing rods and whatnot. What does that mean or look like for clients if I'm on the package and I enjoy fishing? Can I go out and buy a fishing rod because it's on the list?
Well, there's a definition for it, isn't there, Foster? And I think it probably rolls off your tongue better than mine, but I think it's got to be related to the care needs, that your personal needs. It just
an
can't
age-related
be a hobby.
decline, functional decline,
That's
or,
it.
you know,
And what we also saw during the heyday, to put it loosely, of consumer-directed care is that people were making demands for items that were really way out of scope for the requirements of maintaining someone at home safely. For example, there were requests, we hear of requests for, flat screen TVs and white goods for their house, for kitchens to be remodelled, and that posed a real dilemma for us as service providers because the guidelines were quite open and it did on occasion create challenges for us and for the clients. What I like about the new program is that people don't have to save money to purchase an expensive piece of equipment, assistive technology. There's $15,000 that will sit separate to that funded level of care that they've been assessed at, and they can purchase their assistive technology through that funding. And I think that's a really, really positive move on the part of the new Support at Home program, rather than people foregoing showers or other forms of assistance so that they could afford to buy an electric wheelchair, or they could afford to buy a shower chair or a toilet raiser. So
we see it a lot because people have to have those high level or expensive needs because aged care, home care, it's one of those things you don't look for until you need it, and then there's the process, and then by the time you get through the process you might need some equipment or some aids, and people used to have to save up their funding day by day until they had enough to buy it, but now they'll get that kind of money at that point of assessment and be able to start out straight away, which I think will make a big difference to their initial care as well, because we're not having to find ways around that or to supplement that with services, or it speaks to that independence element.
Exactly. We have someone that comes back to the home after having had a stroke, and they don't have enough money in their unspent funds to actually buy an electric bed or buy the electric wheelchair or whatever else it is that they need to help them remain at home. Well, then their opportunity to stay at home and independent is diminished, and they might have to move into residential aged care. So this, I think, is a great aspect of the changes afoot.
And I think it's that little bit of that mystery or veil around the process kind of removed of what's in scope, what's out of scope. It still doesn't mean that it's a tick box exercise. It's on the list, you can have it. We've still got our processes, and we still have to justify the reason why and prove the reason why, and collect supports about why and what it's going to do and how it's actually going to make an improvement in someone's life. It's not just an unlimited bucket of money for any given purpose. So there's still that process, but it certainly clears it up a little bit. And it is a pretty transparent, hopefully. I know people feel unsure about it, or we see historically clients feeling unsure about it, and a bit of confusion around why I can't have this or can't have this specific thing, but my neighbour down the road or across the road can have that thing. And it does speak to that, it's about your unique needs as an individual. It's not about your neighbour down the road. It's personalised still.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. We do have to reinforce that it is a personalised service. It's not one size fits all. We are individuals, and we work hard to respect that individual's specific set of care needs.
And there's that safety element and responsibility element when we're purchasing something for someone. I think that gets a lot of questions as well. If a wheelchair's purchased, who's responsible for upkeep? Who's, doing X, Y, Z? How do we know that what we're purchasing is safe or fit for the right person? We have all of those questions, because if the equipment's not right or the aid's not right, it can make the problem worse rather than better.
Well, Foster, I think we've pretty much covered all the topics we wanted to cover today. Would you like to just run through all the options people have for contacting us, Foster?
Yeah, if you do have any other questions, you can obviously go to our website, murraymallee.org.au. You'll see Support at Home at the top of that website, and we'll be putting lots of information there. You can call us on 8532 2255, and we'd be happy to answer questions. Again, it might not be Anna or I, but anyone in the team would be more than happy to help point you in the right direction or help out. There's obviously My Aged Care as well, and the government websites where you can go and get more information.